stop saying that. The farming is different. Why is it different?
It produces food, Nick.
Why are you refusing to answer this question?
Well, I'm answering it. Listen to me, man.
Unless there are actually, we do actually have a two-tier justice system in this country. Let's find out.
Yes, let's find out indeed. Now let's listen to this hilarious, great farming face-off, you could say, between Nick Abbot and this LBC caller from Saturday night, where the LBC caller wanted to defend these farmers protesting. Is it today? I'm not sure. Well, as you have just heard, it didn't go well.
Farmers are kicking off. And Trump's, what about that in a minute? But these farmers, Nick, they mean business, it seems to me. They met up in Wales today at the Labour conference.
Yeah.
And I got to be honest, it is a conundrum, right? Now, hear me out. I'm from West Wales, farming, very, very much a farming community, and I had friends who lived on farms with, obviously, their parents.
Right.
And one day they would inherit the farm. And then somebody else would inherit the farm. But at the end of the day, Nick, very few of those farms within families, and this is where the Labour Party and the Tories eventually will have a conundrum. It's that very few of those farms left the family because the kids were brought up on it. The kids very often, didn't pay too much attention to their own education because they knew they were going to be farmers, right?
Well, so you don't know about how many, so to say very often is incorrect. Like there may be some like that, but I bet most kids don't want to be farmers.
I bet you. Well, not a bit. I know there was a good proportion of kids, for example, in my class, through primary and through secondary school, who were farm children, right? Farmers' children. And this isn't an argument with you. This is me just throwing some thoughts out there. And my thoughts are that those kids, they didn't go on to do A levels. They left. And a lot of them were bright. A lot of them got O level, but they didn't go on because they knew they wanted to be in farming. So they're farms, Nick, right?
I don't know that that's a very smart thing to have done.
Take it from someone who lived in a farming community and generations of it. My parents knew farming kids. Their parents. My grandfather, for example, he worked on the land. But my argument is this, right? I haven't made it yet. That the government has to way of finding out, and it's generally small farms, hill farms often, rather than prime beef farming land and all of that. But it's farmers who have kids who are going to inherit the farm, and then their kids will inherit the farm, and on it'll go. So the farm will never ever be sold. It'll simply be handed down.
Yeah.
And for me, if a farm isn't being sold, and if you can write into the ownership of that farm that this farm has been handed on, and it's not been sold, therefore no inheritance tax due. But
those are not the rules that everybody else plays by.
No, but farmers don't live the life everybody else lives, Nick.
What?
Right? The farmers don't.
You mean hang on a minute? They've chosen a life that they don't like. No, that don't make no sense.
No, that isn't what I said. It's a simplistic view to say that farming is like any other way of life. And I'm not here to defend farmers. What I'm trying to say is that farms and the farming lifestyle is very, very different to any other lifestyle because they don't get a wage packet. They get money if they sell some sheep or a crop.
Right. So it's the same as running a business then?
Well, yes. But it's far more simple in small farms than you think, Nick.
Simple?
Far
what do
more
you mean?
Simplistic. I see it here in Cornwall. I'll see a farmer who has land near where I live, and he'll be pulling a horse box, and he might have 20 sheep in it. He's taking them to the slaughterhouse because he's got to deal with a supermarket or whoever, and off it goes.
Yeah.
And then that's him sorted then with a few quid.
All right. Well, he's doing that as a business. Other people are doing other things for business purposes, and they're making money in other ways, and they have to pay tax when they pass their business on. Why shouldn't farmers pay a tax when they pass their business on?
Well, because it isn't like the landed gentry or your Clarksons or your Dysons. They're different because you're talking about generations of people.
No, answer the question. Why should farmers, because they are running a certain type of business, not pay the same amount of tax as somebody else who works equally hard because they're running a different type of business?
Well, because you're talking about possibly, as I see it, inheritance tax traditionally is on a single dwelling house, and
no, it's not. It's on the value of your assets, and traditionally, but the highest value asset that people own is their house.
Yeah.
But answer the question: why should somebody who runs a business as a farmer not pay tax when somebody who runs a different different business as an entrepreneur or as a butcher or somebody who has a job cleaning people's houses, why should they have to pay tax and the farmer doesn't?
Well, because the farming is different. Because
stop saying that. The farming is different. Why is it different?
It produces food, Nick.
Yes, but so does the butcher. The butcher produces food. Yes, he does. I've been running. Wait a minute. I've been running a butcher shop for 100 years. Say. My granddad passed that shop down to my dad, and my dad passed that shop down to me. And every single one of us had to pay tax, and we are providing food. Why should we pay tax and the person who is growing the food not?
The butcher is not producing a single thing. What the butcher is doing is he's providing a service. He cuts meat up and he sells it on.
Yeah, he's providing that service.
A service.
Yeah, he's providing that service, precisely.
But farming is and this is an endless argument. There is no end to this one.
Well, you haven't answered the basic question. Why should one type of businessman pay tax and another not?
I inherited a house, right, from my parents.
Why are you refusing to answer this question?
Well, I'm answering it. Listen to me, man. So I inherited a third of a house. A third of a house was not good to me. I couldn't live in it without the permission of my sisters and agreement of my sisters. So the house inevitably is sold, like almost every other family in the land, right?
Right.
But a farm is different. It's a means of production, yes, and it's good for the farmer and his family, but it's good for the country because it's land.
Businesses are good for the country. The country would not survive without businesses. It's the same for every business. All businesses make the... Yes, of course, all businesses make the country go round. Pubs, restaurants, all of these places, people who do cleaning, people who do transport. I mean, you could say that a rail train driver is doing a very, very important job. Without train drivers, nobody's getting anywhere. And so perhaps they should get a pass on paying taxes when they pass on. It's just ridiculous, Malcolm. You can't make a special...
No, you talk sense. You talk sense, Nick, on a lot of things. But those things have nothing to do with farming because they're completely different to farming, Nick.
Yes, farming is different from other jobs and other businesses, but just because it's different, I don't see why you should get a pass on tax.
Because we depend on it. You don't depend on a pub for your beer. You could go to a supermarket for beer.
Okay, here's the truth. You can buy apples or meat or whatever it might be that a British farmer produces elsewhere. And in fact, people do.
From a farmer.
People do that because it's cheaper.
But it's food, Nick, and without food, people die, man.
Yes, I know that, but we don't have to get food from British farmers. I mean, if that is your argument, that we rely on our food for British farmers, then I'm sorry, you just shot yourself in the foot, because we do not rely on British farmers for our food.
No, because the same rules, Nick, apply to farmers in other countries. But
that's a matter for other countries.
Exactly,
those are tax regimes that haven't got nothing to do with us.
No, I think, look, Nick, the point is this, right? If a kid inherits a farm, the kid isn't inheriting anything other than a means of producing some animals or a crop.
You could say the same of any business.
Nick.
Of course you could. I make paper for a living. I've got a factory that makes paper. And it was passed down. It's been in the family for 100 years. And I pass it on to my next of kin. And they shouldn't pay tax because it makes money. I don't get it.
No, I just think you do have to look at farming in a different light.
Because you're a farmer.
I'm not a farmer. Never farmed in my life.
All right,
My
you're,
dad was a
you're
plumber,
farming.
man, for God's sake.
You're farming adjacent. You seem to be
look, my dad was a plumber.
emotionally twirled with the farming community, and we're going around and around in circles, Malcolm. There is absolutely no justification why just because you do one thing you should pay tax, and because you do a different type of job you shouldn't. It's ridiculous. And besides, they get a pass much more than anybody else does. I mean, they're already quids in. The amount that they can earn, or the amount of their assets can be valued at, is about double what the rest of us get. And then they pay half the rate of tax. And they're still complaining. No, I can't have that conversation with you anymore, Malcolm, because it's just absolutely going nowhere. Like a lot of traffic will be in the centre of London this week. And let me repeat that we have already established by law that if you interrupt the flow of traffic, it's 5 years in jail. Unless there are actually, we do actually have a two-tier justice system in this country. Let's find out.
Now, I really don't have a strong opinion on this situation, but the farmers that I do seem to see that they're having a bit of the fit of the vape, so to speak, are the stinking rich ones. But what do you guys think? Is Nick Abbot right about why farmers should be treated different to any other businesses? Or is Malcolm right in saying that they should be treated different? Let me know down below. And I know this is different to my House of Commons or select committee meetings, but if you like all that sort of stuff, like and subscribe. I just wanted to share this hilarious conversation. So what do you guys think? Let me know down below, like I say. So I shall bid you farewell and take care, my friends.